Today we are going to discuss about a topic that is called pelvic organ prolapse. Now, pelvic region is the region that is least explored, and people don't know much about the pelvic region and how to strengthen the pelvic floor rehab. So, this is pelvic organ prolapse, which is very common yet undiscussed. Like women know that there's a thing called pelvic organ prolapse, but they don't know what to do about it. So pelvic organ prolapse. So, what is pelvic organ prolapse? Basically, for a simple diagram, I may show you that this is your uterus. Okay, this is your vagina. This is your bladder. Your bladder sits ahead of your uterus and vagina, and your uterus just sits like this. Okay, and here is rectum. So we all know rectum is for bowel defecation and bladder is for urinary defecation. Okay, so what happens in pelvic organ prolapse or POP, that one of the pelvic organ, maybe bladder, maybe uterus, maybe vaginal vault, or maybe the rectum, they bulge out in the vagina or they force themselves into the vagina, causing prolapse. So pelvic organ prolapse, often referred to as prolapse, that is a vaginal change where a pelvic organ, maybe a bladder, bowel, rectum or uterus, it moves downwards in the vagina, causing symptoms of something coming down. The woman will complain that she feels that something is coming down in her vagina or vaginal heaviness. The bulge may be palpated outside or inside the vagina. She will be able to palpate the bulge of the vagina. And now, first we have to discuss what is pelvic floor and what are the pelvic floor muscles, because the POP, the main cause of pelvic organ prolapse, is the weakness of the pelvic floor muscles. Now, to simplify, what is pelvic floor muscles? Pelvic floor muscles are the hammock shaped muscles which sits in the pelvis like this. Hammock is like when you go on a vacation and you sit on the hammock shaped wing, that is called hammock. Hammock is shaped like this. So what are the pelvic floor muscles? They are superficial and deep muscles, and this is ischiocavernosus. That, okay, first I will tell you what this is. Pelvis, this is urethral opening, this is vaginal opening, and this is anal openings. These are three openings in the this is a female pelvis. Okay, so there are three openings in the female pelvis, that is urethral opening, vaginal opening and anal opening. Okay, the muscle that surrounds the vaginal opening and urethral opening is bulbospongiosus. This is bulbospongiosus, and the upper structure is called clitoris, and the muscles which surround the anal opening, it is called this is called external anal sphincter. This is superficial transverse perineus muscle. This is the deep transverse perineal muscles. Okay, and the major group of muscles are levator ani muscles. These are levator ani muscles. There are three muscles in levator ani. According to some schools, there are only two muscles, but according to me, there are three muscles. That is pubococcygeus, ileococcygeus, and ischiococcygous or coccygeus. Okay, and there is obturator internus muscle, which is connected, that is external rotator of the thigh. Okay, these are levator ani muscles, which are the major group of pelvic floor muscles. Now, to discuss the supply of the pelvic floor muscles, the major supply is they are innervated by the anterior rami of S4 and branches of the pudendal nerve. So, pudendal nerve is the major supply of the pelvic floor muscles. And when we talk about the blood supply of pelvic floor muscles, it is by internal iliac artery. Okay, normally external iliac artery, it supplies the blood to the lower extremities, and for the pelvic it is internal iliac artery. Okay, this is origin and insertion. I'm not going into much detail about them, but what is the major role of coccygeus, ileococcygeus and pubococcygeus is they provide the pelvic they provide the support to the pelvic content, and it stabilizes the sacroiliac joint. Many women complain of sacroiliac joint pain. It is because of the it may be because of the pelvic floor muscles dysfunction. So if the patient complains, we should also assess the pelvic floor muscle. Now what will the prolapse feel like? So prolapse will feel like, first is vaginal bulge. Okay, the woman will complain that something is coming out of the vagina. Now what is popping out sensation here? Popping out sensation is when the intra-abdominal pressure increases. If the woman coughs, if the woman lifts a heavy weight, there will be increase in intra-abdominal pressure, and when the intra-abdominal pressure increases, the prolapsed organ will bulge out or pop out, and then it will go back into the place. So this is called the popping sensation. Okay, then is increased vaginal pressure. There will be painful intercourse, reduced sexual sensations, and there will be difficulty in achieving orgasms. There will be sensory deficit. Okay, so this is the normal vaginal opening. This is how the normal vaginal opening looks like, and this is how the prolapse looks like. This, some organ is coming out of the vagina. It is very clear, and it is also palpable externally and internally. Women can palpate the prolapse. Now, what is splinting? Many women complains that during bowel defecation she has to push something that is coming out of her vagina in order to defecate easily. So that is called splinting. Splinting, pelvic floor splinting is manually supporting the pelvic openings during the bowel movements. During bowel movements, if we manually support the pelvic openings or pelvic organs, that is called the splinting. So splinting usually involves the pads of finger holding up or physically supporting the vagina during the bowel emptying. So here you can see the hands, the pads of the fingers, they are supporting the perineum or vagina during the bowel emptying, and these are the structures, and these hammock shaped pelvic floor muscles, these are the structures, and this is the hammock shaped pelvic floor muscles, and this is called splinting, or this is called splinting. Splinting is manually pushing the organs. So there are four types of there are four types of pelvic organ prolapse. The most common pelvic organ prolapse is cystocele. Now what is cystocele? In cystocele, like I told you, like this, the bladder, it bulges out down into the vagina. Now imagine if the bladder, which is sitting nicely ahead of the vagina, if it bulges down into the vagina, what will happen? There will be problems with emptying. Okay, there will be problems with emptying, and there will be frequent urinary tract infections, and the woman will complain of two main features, that is urgency and frequency. There will be an urgent need to urinate, and it will happen frequently. So there will be urgency and frequency. There will be incontinence. Incontinence means whenever the intra-abdominal pressure increases, like in coughing, or like urgency, when there is urgency, that is frequency, that is when there be urgency to urinate. Due to urgency, the urine will leak, and that leakage is called leakage by any manner, either by increase of the intra-abdominal pressure or by urgency. Leakage by any manner will cause leaking by any manner is called incontinence. Then difficulty to start or pass urine when emptying the bladder, and the woman often says that if she changes the position, she can easily urinate. So what is rectocele? So rectocele is when the rectum, so this is my vaginal wall, this is my uterus, and this is my rectum. When the rectum bulges into the uterus, this is called when the rectum bulges into the vagina, this is called the rectocele. As you can see in this picture, this is normal healthy pelvic floor, the bladder, uterus, vagina, and the rectum. Now what happens in rectocele? The bladder is normal, this is uterus, this is vagina, and what happens with the rectum? Rectum, which was sitting nicely, it bulges down into the vagina, causing prolapse. So what will happen if the patient has rectocele? Again, difficulty in passing the bowels or incomplete emptying, that will lead to straining of the pelvic floor muscles more than normal. If someone of you is having constipation, you know what straining of pelvic floor muscles feel like. So there will be straining more than normal. There will be bowel or wind leakage around, or smearing around the anus. There will be bowel urgency, and needing to use fingers to press around the vagina, that I called that I said earlier, that they have to press around the vagina to settle the prolapsed organ in order to defecate properly. This all will happen in rectocele. Now, third is uterine prolapse. What is uterine prolapse? When the uterus, which is here and the vagina is here, when the uterus get bulged into the vagina. When uterus moves downwards into the vagina due to lack of the pelvic floor muscle support, the cervix will sit down the vagina, and there are 4 degrees of this. In first degree, like you can see, this is no prolapse. Here there is no prolapse. All the organs are sitting nicely. Now there are 4 stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. In stage 1, what will happen? The cervix will drop into the vagina. So uterus is here, vagina is here. In first degree, the cervix will drop into the vagina. Now what will happen in the second degree? The cervix drops to the level just inside of the vagina. So this is the borderline of the vagina. It drops inside just in the level of the vagina. Now, what is the third degree? Third degree is the cervix or uterus gets prolapsed outside the borderline of the vagina. So, it has just crossed the borderline of the vagina and prolapsed outside. And now, what is fourth degree? The fourth degree is entire uterus is out of the vagina, and this is called procedentia, and it is due to the weakness of the pelvic floor muscles. Now, fourth is complete vaginal vault prolapse. Now, what is vaginal vault prolapse? If the patient has done hysterectomy or the operation to remove the uterus, the top of the vagina, which is known as vaginal vault, it goes down into the vagina. It can bulge downwards. So, what will happen if the patient has vaginal vault prolapse? First is the patient will have the feeling of something is coming down out of her vagina. Okay, she can see the bulge. If she sits in front of the mirror, she can see the bulge that is coming out of the vagina, and she can palpate the bulge as well. There will be laxity. They'll be feeling that the vagina is wider. The vagina it has got lax. Lax is relaxed at the maximum stance. That is called laxity. So vagina will be lax, a feeling that vagina is wider, looser, or more open than normal. There will be difficulty in inserting tampons, because to insert the tampons we need some tightness in vagina. So if the vagina is lax, there will be difficulty in inserting tampons, and the tampons will not stay in the place. Then there will be sexual symptoms, that is obstructed intercourse because something in its way. There will be discomfort or pain in sexual intercourse, and anxiety about whether sex with a prolapse is safe or may cause damage. And I want to create tell you or distort a myth that sex with a prolapse is safe. It is safe. Okay, you can have, but it will create problems. Okay, it will not be comfortable for the woman with the prolapse. Then pain symptoms: backache, abdominal discomfort, vaginal pain, but they are not the sole features of the vaginal wall prolapse or prolapse. They can be associated with any other conditions in absence of the prolapse. Okay, and generally prolapse is worst at the end of the day, and especially with prolonged standing. So especially with the activities which increase the intra-abdominal pressure. So take in account that prolonged standing should be avoided, and secondly the activities which increases the intra-abdominal pressure should be avoided. Then what can cause prolapse? Prolapse is caused by a number of factors which affect the support system of the vagina. Okay, so first is pregnancy and childbirth. This is the most common factor when the patient or the woman has a vaginal delivery. Okay, and when she is pregnant, the weight of the baby puts strain on the pelvic floor muscles and the pelvic organs, and there is a hormone that we all know. There is a hormone called relaxin which is released during pregnancy. It causes relaxation of all ligaments and joints of the body. So what happens if relaxin is released? All the ligaments get lax. Okay, so there will be more laxity. when the woman has episiotomy or vaginal tear or anything which requires forceps, okay, it can weaken the structures, it can weaken the pelvic floor muscles. So if the woman practices pelvic floor muscle exercises during the pregnancy or after the pregnancy, it will be beneficial for the woman. Then second is obesity and overweight. The more weight the body has to manage, the more strain you are putting on the body. So the more weight your body has to manage, the more pressure there is through the pelvis and onto the pelvic organs. Okay, because if the patient is obese or if the patient is overweight, it puts an extra strain onto the supporting structures. Then is heavy lifting. If your job consists of heavy lifting, or you have to lift continuously or repeatedly, so it can cause prolapse. Okay, or if your job is continuously of continuous lifting or repeated lifting, and plus you have weak pelvic floor muscles, which I guess all of us will have, because we have never thought about our pelvic floor muscles, and I have weak pelvic floor muscles. So if your pelvic floor muscles are weak, they are not strong enough, and you do repeated lifting or repeated bending, it will cause prolapse. Okay, and then family history. A strong family history, if your mother or your sister has a pelvic organ prolapse in their history, then you are more prone to develop a prolapse. Then age, the older you are, the more likely you are to have a prolapse, because there are two reasons. Okay, first is the older you are, though the more laxity you will be having. Okay, and secondly, along with the changes, along with the older changes, along with the degeneration, what will happen, the muscle strength, the pelvic floor muscle strength or the vaginal supports will become weak over time. That's why you are more prone, if you are older in age, so you are more prone to have a prolapse. Then is menopausal changes. So there's a common hormone called estrogen, which is very important in the life cycle of a woman. Okay, so when the woman menstruates, the estrogen fall, the estrogen levels fall. So and when the woman has menopause, the estrogen levels again fall. So what happens, that if you are in your menopausal stage, when your vaginal estrogen level is very low, the prolapse will can occur, and it can become bothersome, because the estrogen levels are very low during the menopause. Then constipation, chronic constipation, and during menstruation. Okay, during the menstrual cycle, the levels of estrogen and progesterone increases dramatically. So the women who are in the fertile age, or they are still having menstruation, they have low risk of getting the prolapse than the women who have the menopause or women who are ovulating. Then comes constipation, chronic constipation and straining to your bowels. If the patient has constipation, they have to strain their pelvic floor muscles more to defecate. That will cause the laxity, or that will increase the intra-abdominal pressure, and the pressure will be directed towards all your pelvic organs. So it will cause prolapse. Then chronic cough. The chronic cough and constipation are two things that increases the intra-abdominal pressure, and if the intra-abdominal pressure increases, it will cause strain on your pelvic floor. Then previous pelvic surgery. If the patient has a pelvic surgery or hysterectomy, so you are more prone to getting, you are more prone of pelvic prolapse. Now, what women know about the prolapse? Okay, if the woman has a prolapse, if some woman has a prolapse, she will think of only two options. One is surgery, and second is Kegels. Like, if I have a prolapse, the best treatment for me is surgery, but it is not true in all the cases. And second is, okay, if I do not, I have other options like Kegels if I do not want to opt for surgery. And Kegels, okay, so the surgery and Kegels are not bad options, okay, but they are not sufficient on their own, because if you opt for surgery, the failure rates of surgery is unsettlingly high. Okay, it is around 30 to 60% fail at some point. And Kegels. Now, if you're purely tensing your pelvic floor muscles many times in a day, it can improve your symptoms sometimes, but it can worsen your symptoms also, and it can increase or aggravate your pelvic floor pain. And like I said in starting, that pelvic floor issues are very common, but the people are not aware about the obstetric and gynecology aspect in physiotherapy, and they are not aware that if they have any pelvic floor issues, what should they do. So 1 in 4 women suffer from pelvic floor disorder, yet the people don't know about it. Now, what is the treatment in prolapse? So, there'll be internal support, external support, learning to manage intra-abdominal pressure, pelvic and hip strength, manage constipation and other toileting tips, learning to move and minimize the pressure, sexual activity and weight considerations. Okay, so what is internal support? I have put some pretty nice pictures. These pictures are of pessaries. These are pessaries or internal support. Okay, so a vaginal pessary is something, a device that sits into the vagina, and what does the pessary do? It supports the pelvic floor organs and the vaginal walls and the uterus and all the pelvic floor organs. It is made of plastic or silicone, and once fitted will need to be checked regularly and replaced as required. Okay, there are several. Okay, so not one pessary is applicable to all the women, so every woman has to find the right pessary for themselves. So every woman will have different pessary requirements. Okay, and if mostly gynecologists insert the pessaries, but if you do self-manage with a pessary, some women they only wish to wear the pessary during activities that make their prolapse symptoms even worse. Once correctly fitted, many women say that they are unaware of the pessary, because if the woman has a pessary inserted inside her vagina, it will be she'll forget that a pessary is inserted in a vagina, because it will feel so light. It won't feel that something is pushed into a vagina. It will feel very light, and the woman will be unaware after some times if she's in work. Pessaries can be used for all types of prolapse. Okay, I repeated, pessaries can be used for all types of prolapse, but they do not work for everyone. Like I said, everything is not for everyone. So pessaries, pessaries are not, they do not work for everyone and may not improve your symptoms or level of prolapse. And if you notice any vaginal discharge when using a pessary that is bothering you, please consult a gynecologist or general practitioner. And some women ask, what is the use of pessary? Why should we use the internal support? So there's a nice line that if you have ankle instability, or if you have an ankle sprain, so what will you do? And if you want to go for a hike, what will you do? Stay at home or go with an unstable ankle? No, right? You will wear an ankle brace. So that's the same thing that vaginal pessary does for pelvic floor. It supports the pelvic floor. Okay, now is external support. I didn't find any picture of the FEME-JOC, but this is if the woman cannot use the pessary or is uncomfortable while using the pessary, she can use an external support that is called the FEME-JOC. You can Google it, FEME-JOC. It can be you can Google it, FEME-JOC. It can be worn over the undergarments, and it really hides under the undergarments and clothes, and the woman will not be uncomfortable by her appearance. She'll like the FEME-JOC. It provides a good amount of perineal compression or lift, and if the patient cannot wear a pessary, the most likely option is the external support. Then a third is managing the intra-abdominal pressure. So many women are quite disconnected from their pelvic floor. As I already said, that women are not aware about pelvic floor muscle. Like we strengthen our upper extremity, lower extremity, even our core, but we forget about pelvic floor because we think ये तो अपने आप strengthen हो जाएगा, but ऐसा नहीं होता. So many women are quite disconnected from the pelvic floor muscles, and plus they do not when you're disconnected from something, you do not have full command on that. Okay, so they do not have full command on this muscle, and this group should be relaxed contracted and lengthened. Okay, and these three functions are needed to work properly. If you want your pelvic floor muscles nice, these three functions need to work properly. These muscles are also needed to able to coordinate with the rest of the core, including the diaphragm and abdominals, that is your core. So if the pelvic floor muscles is weak, your core strengthening will not help. Now, how to manage the intra-abdominal pressure? You have to take few things into account. First is lifting. It is not the weight of the object that you lift that cause the symptoms to be worse. Like if you think that the more heavy weight that you lift, it will cause the prolapse. It is not like that. Frequent, as I said, frequent or repetitive bending task. If you are in a occupation which requires frequent bending or repetitive bending, then weight itself is not weight itself is not a problem. Frequent bending or repetitive bending is a problem that is causing the prolapse to occur. Then try to get into a good lifting habits for all tasks. Tighten your pelvic floor muscles before each lift. Now, when the woman does not have a proper command on the pelvic floor muscles, she has to memorize this, or she has to take account that every time that she lifts something, she has to tighten the pelvic floor muscles and then lift. It will keep her pelvic organs safe. It will decrease the chances of prolapse. So first it will be like you have to keep yourself aware, like if you are lifting, you will tell your mind that you have to contract your pelvic floor muscles, but after a time this will come automatically. But for that you have to first start giving commands to your pelvic floor muscles. Try to split loads for carrying, making more frequent trips. Don't lift all of the weight in one go. Make frequent trips and lift correctly when picking from the low down. If something is on the floor, you have to pick it correctly. Otherwise, you are straining your back muscles as well as your pelvic floor muscles. Then exercise and activities. Avoid activities that make the symptoms worse, such as, like I said, standing for prolonged periods. Okay, if you know that you have to stand for prolonged periods, try to break the act into parts. Okay, stand for 1 hour, rest for 20 minutes, then stand for 1 hour. So try to break up your day wherever possible into shorter periods of standing and sitting in between. High impact activities such as jumping, running in aerobics may worsen your symptoms, especially if your pelvic floor muscles are not strong. Okay, so high impact activities like jumping will worsen the symptoms. Activities using weights which cause too much downward pressure, so try to avoid the high impact activities and high load activities. Okay, and include low impact activities such as modified aerobics, cycling, cross training, and fast walking, pilates, swimming into your schedule more. If your normal exercise routine makes your prolapse symptoms worse, you need to see a pelvic rehab practitioner or your gynecologist to get it modified, get your schedule modified. Then is reduce cough. Okay, because as you know, cough increases what? Intra-abdominal pressure, and as the intra-abdominal pressure increases, it will put pressure or put strain on your pelvic floor organs, and it will cause the prolapse worse. Okay, now this is a figure. This is correct activity of abdominals. Okay, and this is incorrect activity of abdominals, and this is how intra-abdominal pressure is affecting all the areas, and this is spine. Now is managing the pelvic floor muscles. Now how to manage the pelvic floor muscles? Start with 10 long squeezes of the pelvic floor muscles, holding each of the squeeze for 10 seconds, followed by 10 short squeezes. Okay, if you're not able to hold it for a longer period of time, start with little and often. Okay, start with little and often and then increase day by day. But you have to start from somewhere. You can't just wait for your pelvic floor to strengthen on its own. You should do your pelvic floor muscle exercise at least 3 times per day, and start with sitting or lying down, or the position that you are most comfortable in. Most women find it sitting or lying down is most comfortable for doing pelvic floor muscle exercises. Okay, and Do squeezes, start with little and often and go ahead as the time progresses. Build up your exercise routine gradually over the weeks and months. You should notice an improvement in 3 to 5 months and then keep practicing your pelvic floor muscles. Okay, as your muscles improve, aim to do your exercises in other positions. Like if you are very comfortable in if you're very comfortable in sitting and supine, sitting or lying, you should progress it in standing. It will challenge you. Eventually you can practice using these muscles, and when you will have a good command on your pelvic floor muscles, trust me, you can do these exercises even during activities, like if you're walking, if you're doing some work, if you are sleeping, if you're bending forward, if you're picking up some weight, you will not have to remind yourself that yeah, I have to squeeze my pelvic floor. It will come automatically, but you have to start from somewhere. If you're having difficulty or not improving, ask to be referred asked to be referred to a special physiotherapist, that is the pelvic floor rehab practitioner. A pelvic health physiotherapist will be able to assess your prolapse and pelvic floor muscles, and the pelvic floor rehab practitioner will give you further advice. Okay. And this may include supervised pelvic floor muscle training for at least 16 weeks until it is recommended by NICE guideline that you have to train for at least 16 weeks with advice that you continue exercises for the long term. Draw up and tighten your pelvic floor muscles before any activity. Now this is the point to remember, that before you do any activity you should remind yourself that you have to draw and tighten your pelvic floor muscles, which increases the intra-abdominal pressure. So this helps the pelvic floor to resist the downward movement of the pelvic organs. So pelvic organs will not move downwards or will not bulge into the vagina, and this will help you to strengthen your hammock shaped muscles, that are pelvic floor muscles. So these are simple yoga asanas or exercises which you can do to strengthen your pelvic floor muscles. Okay, now is the most important is toileting tips. Okay, first is do not strain. Straining pelvic floor muscles during toileting is not beneficial for your pelvic floor muscles. Sit fully on toilet, do not hover. Okay, it will help you to relax the right muscles. You have to find your comfortable position on toilet before you defecate or urinate. Have your feet apart. Don't keep your feet on the floor if your toilet is raised up. Okay, have a stool underneath your feet, and have your feet apart and raised up on a stool with arms that are lying comfortably on your legs. Keep your tummy relaxed. You don't have to squeeze your tummy while you urinate or defecate. Mostly if the woman has constipation, she will complain that I have to tighten my abdominals in order to defecate, but this will not help. Do not tighten your abdominal area. Avoid breath holding. Try to have relaxed breathing pattern. Okay, do not hold your breath while you urinate or defecate. Then some women may find it helpful to support the perineum, that I said earlier. While emptying the bowels, they have to support their perineum or the vaginal area, that is called manual splinting. Applying some pressure vaginally on the bulging will like they have to manually, suppose this is my organ that is bulging, they have to manually support the bulging organ. This will help it to stand away from the way, and it will help to for the easier urination and defecation. Then try avoid getting to the loo just in case. Don't go to the loo if you do not have a sensation of full bladder. Okay, because during prolapse you will have increased urgency and frequency, so do not go to the loo just in case. Now after passing urine, you may find it helpful to lean forward and backward several times so that the properly whole urine comes out. Whole bladder urine comes out. So you should do backward and forward motions after every urination and defecation. Do not push or strain your bladder because it may aggravate your prolapse. Try not to reduce your daily fluids. Some women think that if I'm having urgency or frequency, I should reduce my fluid intake, reduce my fluid intake. Like if I'm drinking water, I should stop drinking much water. It will not help. Okay, the fluid and the urgency is not at all connected. So drinking less may not always decrease the number of times you have to go to your toilet. So it is not connected, so do not cut on your. Then is minimizing pressure. So it is seriously important to work with a skilled pelvic floor physical therapist. Here are a couple of tips. Okay, the major tip that I'm going to give you is exhale with effort. Okay, exhale with effort. Exhale with every effort that you are taking. First is if if you're getting out of a chair, okay, or picking up a heavy item, so you have to breathe out while you are on the move. Okay, you have to breathe out when you are efforting. That will that will encourage your core muscles to engage. Okay, your core muscles will get engaged, and it will support your pelvic floor muscles. While doing exercises, monitor your belly signs for too much abdominal pressure. If the abdominal pressure is increases, okay, if you have getting if you are getting a sign that my abdominal pressure is increases when while I'm lifting a heavy weight, or while I'm lifting a child from the ground, my intra-abdominal pressure is increasing. So you have to but if the belly is bulging out, that means your pelvic floor is also likely to be bulged out downwards. If this happens, try to scale the exercise that if you can see that your abdominal muscles are bulging out. Okay, if they are bulging out, try to do activities that keep the abdominals flat. Okay, even if your trainer says that do not do this or do what I say, I repeat, most personal trainers are not skilled in pelvic safe exercises, or they are not pelvic rehab practitioners. So please try to do exercises which keeps your abdominals flat. You have to be your own advocate. Now is sexual activity and weight considerations. Having sex with prolapse is safe. Like I said earlier, if you have sex with prolapse, it is safe and it will not damage or make the bulge worse. But you have to find different positions that is comfortable for you. As I said, that sex will not be comfortable while you are having a prolapse. Okay, but it will not damage the prolapse, but you will not feel comfortable while doing it. So you have to change the position so that it is comfortable to you, and use a suitable lubricant. If you have vaginal dryness, or if your vagina is dry, you can use a suitable lubricant. And being overweight, this is an important point. Being overweight puts an extra strain on the pelvic floor muscles. So first try to decrease your weight if you are having a pelvic organ prolapse, or if you are not having anything, just if you are obese, try to decrease your weight. So stop your sufferings. Prolapse can be treated only if you speak about it. If you will not speak about the prolapse, no one will know. Don't suffer. Just see the gynecologist or pelvic floor rehab practitioner, and the life will be easier, trust me. And as I said, that this is a topic which takes days. Actually, this will not be covered in a simple presentation or simple lecture. It is a very vast topic. Pelvic floor is a very vast topic, but you have to speak about your pelvic floor muscle activities, because no one will know. And secondly, and firstly, this is an area which is least explored by people. Okay, because people are unaware, plus people don't know what the physiotherapist can do in this, and thirdly, people don't consult doctors or physiotherapists for such petty issues. But these are not petty, these are very, this can be life threatening. Okay, not all the times, but this can be life threatening. Not POP, not pelvic organ prolapse, but any pelvic disorder can be life threatening. So it is better to consult a doctor or physiotherapist before you proceed imagining situations. So thank you. This was all from my side. Have a nice day.